Welcome back to This is Arts. Joining me from LA is film director and fashion photographer Oliver Ojeil. His short film A Renaissance earned multiple awards, including Best Story at the London Fashion Film Festival. Beyond film, Oliver's fine art photography has been exhibited in major cities worldwide, from New York to Milan and Paris, and he has collaborated with leading international talents. Oliver, welcome to This is Arts. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, Leah. It's my pleasure.
Oliver, I'd like to go to the very beginning. What first drew you toward the world of visual arts?
Yeah, I think I would basically say it's my background. My dad is he's retired now, but he's a DP and videographer. He basically, I grew up around cameras, equipment, VCRs, the old school, the nonlinear editing and linear editing way. So that was something very initially just looking at the camera as an equipment, as a device. I was just amazed by how complicated it looks, but then how simple it is by just when you snap a photo, you immortalize a moment for eternity in a frame. So this is something like drew me in terms of how I can interpret reality through my dad's equipment and toys. And I remember in the beginning when I was like really young, maybe 5, 6 years old, he wouldn't let me like play with the real camera. So I used to use the tripod and I used to use the mounting head where you have a small hole. And I used to use it as a viewfinder to create stories and see my imaginary characters, or sometimes it would be my parents. So this is on one end. On the other end, also my late grandma, she was, I think, one of Lebanon's first female fashion designers. She used to basically have her own shop, design like atelier, and she used to basically create her own patterns, her own designs. And just being around her, if not around my parents, my dad, I was on my other side spending a lot of time with my grandma. I would absorb all the knowledge of colors and harmony and texture and fabric. And I would look at Vogue magazine and I would just be amazed at the quality and the beauty of the photos and the models and the poses and the light and all that. This is a little bit of my background, how I segued into wanting to become a film director later in life.
And Oliver, you moved to the US to pursue your passion, and since then you've worked with major celebrities, you've shot international campaigns, and you directed several award-winning short films, the most recent being A Renaissance, which won Best Story at the London Fashion Film Festival. Congratulations on that. How did you feel when the film received this recognition, especially as a Lebanese?
Yeah, listen, this was, first of all, it was not expected. It was completely something, it was an amazing feeling, let's put it this way. The, like, you hear the word labor of love, it's thrown left and right in our industry these days. But this little project, it was truly a labor of love. I wrote the script without knowing who's going to play the lead female, the mom in the movie, but also she has to have a 1-year-old, not older, not younger. And it was an idea that came to me. I don't remember where exactly or how, but it just this sort of inspiration that I wanted to put on paper. And I thought one day maybe I'll find somebody. And then a friend of mine that I had shot when I was living in Milano a few years earlier had moved to LA and had her first baby. And I was, whoa, this is the person to play the character, like as if I wrote it with her in mind. So just this whole like synergy that just took place, and then the project came to be, and then the cinematographer who shot the short, he lives in Barcelona, but he was visiting LA for a family wedding, and then he ended up extending his stay. Just like it was a lot of people coming together to help and make it happen. We had no idea that it would just go on. I mean, you mentioned London. It also won at LA Fashion Film Festival, Best Visual Style. It won in Amsterdam. It's also official selection in a few other smaller festivals currently. But also, it's really like I'm proud that it won for Best Story because the film is 3 minutes. And to communicate such a complex story about a woman becoming a mom for the first time in 3 minutes, like I'm very proud of I would say, of the award, honestly. Yeah.
Oliver, can you tell us what the story is about and why you chose to name it Renaissance?
Yeah, I mean, the story, I'm still trying to figure out what it's about, honestly. I'm inspired by these vignettes, I would call them, by these visual I'm very visual, obviously, so I'm inspired by a lot of paintings. I've been studying painting since I'd say my really college years, for a very long time. I'm truly, truly deeply inspired by Renaissance paintings, and I would say the inspiration came to be in the sense where I wanted to translate this inspiration that I have in paintings, but into a modern image, modern idea, and how I can do that. So I thought, okay, maybe I could use fashion as a narrative device to reinterpret Renaissance paintings and Baroque style paintings as well, but in a modern way. And I specifically chose 70s and 80s fashion. 70s for like the crochet style, colorful, and 80s was more like a vintage revival type of fashion. So you'd see like in the short film, you know, the talent are just dressed in that very specific style. And then I wanted to treat colors and lighting in a very ethereal, romantic, and also romanticize the moment itself because it's very emotionally transforming and deep, I would say. Yeah.
And it tells the story of a woman becoming a mother, correct?
So, yeah, absolutely. It's a story about this woman becoming a mom for the first time via symbiosis with AI. The story itself, on purpose, I'm not too clear. I won't tell the viewer and the audience what it's about because that's what makes a painting. Again, I go back to paintings because it's been my main inspiration for the short film. When you look at a painting, everybody dissects their own perspective and subjective onlook towards it. So basically, the movie is, like I said, it's about this mom becoming a woman becoming a mom for the first time, but also it's a story of transformation. It's a story of new beginnings. It's a story of the death of the old ways, and her going throughout this character arc that she goes through is basically told through these very intimate scenes and moments with her daughter.
And is there a particular Renaissance artist who inspired you?
Yeah. There's a couple actually, but for this film specifically, I would say Raphael, or known as Raphael in English. So Raphael, basically, he's known for drawing Madonnas, just Mother Mary and the Child Jesus. He's known for the style. He's kind of one of the artists who truly pioneered this. I would say there's a specific painting, a specific Madonna and Child that truly inspired me that I wanted to end the film with. And I sort of used the birth in the beginning of the movie as coming out of milk, which is a sign of, life and rebirth and birth in general, and then ended all the way, completing the character arc and the circle of the story in a Raphael recreation of a Raphael painting in the film. And then in the very last shot, the mother in the movie, Emma, she cries, but it's tears of happiness, and also she's basically she's absorbed and she's just reborn into her new identity, if I can say.
Wow. And Oliver, one can't help but notice the dreamlike and the vivid colors in the film. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the importance of color in filmmaking, especially since you've worked as a colorist on major productions like The Chosen. Many people don't realize how much color influences the mood and storytelling. What's your take on that?
Yeah, color is such a misunderstood art, and even in Hollywood, even in the top like productions in Hollywood, I would say today, a lot of people just like sometimes when I say I colored this movie or this show, they go like, "What do you mean color? Like it was black and white, you made it color." So there's part of it. I would say it's a very new, probably as 20, 25 years old skill set in the movie making. It sort of was pioneered early in the film era, but then now with the digital age, it became its own thing. I would say the importance of colors can be translated into like a simple sentence is that a movie, it's always been known that a movie is rewritten twice. First, the first draft when you write the movie, then the final shooting draft. The second time it's rewritten, it's in the edit. I would say the third time it gets rewritten, it's in color because it's the colorist who gives the movie its mood and texture. Whether it's a comedy, it's bright and happy and poppy. Whether it's horror, it's ominous and dark and moody. all this stuff, it's literally the colorist who does this stuff.
And Oliver, you're not only a filmmaker, but also an accomplished fashion and fine art photographer. Your work often goes beyond commercial photography. How do you use fashion as a medium to explore identity and tell stories and convey your artistic vision?
It's a good question. I would say fashion, my look at fashion, at least that's my own perspective on it. It's one of the very few ongoing conversations in art. I think cinema, in a way, has found its voice, its impact, its identity. And sure, every year, every couple of years, every decade, if you want to be more technical, you get a rebirth in cinema towards a certain genre or certain style. I would say in fashion, it's an ongoing conversation. Every year you have new patterns, new colors, new style. Sometimes you do an homage to an older era. Sometimes you try to invent something new. Sometimes you try to be sci-fi. Sometimes for your runways, you try to communicate something. To me, also, we go back to paintings. I try to find a way where I'm emulating paintings in photography. It's always been my guide. And when I say that, I try to evoke emotion, texture, color, postures, obviously, as well. So I use, if you want, paintings as this backdrop in the back of my mind, and I marry it with fashion and this ongoing conversation to try to create really unique images that basically, if you're scrolling on Instagram, will just like make you stop for a second, and then you keep scrolling.
And Oliver, what's next for you creatively? What are you working on?
Basically, I'm working on a movie called The End of the World. It's an ominous title, but it's a romance drama. It's about this couple who fall in love and fall out of love, and the inspiration for this was by a quote that I read for Khalil Gibran, basically, where he says, "Between what is said and not meant, and what is meant and not said, most love is lost." So I wanted to create a story that is simple in its essence, but very complex. And I wanted to say, how can I communicate the decay of a relationship in its essence, through this romance? And I chose to use basically the element of the communication and basically the breakdown in communication. So we're now shooting the short film in Tuscany in the spring. We were supposed to shoot it in September, but then we pushed the shoot for scheduling reasons. So basically, we're going to shoot it in the spring, and it's going to be used as a proof of concept for the feature film that's coming next. And for the lead, I have very talented people that I've worked with for the first time, and some I'm working with for recurring collaboration. Basically, for the lead, I have Luma Grothe playing the lead female. I've already worked with her on another short film I did last year, and she's an incredibly talented actress, and she's also L'Oreal's ambassador. She has a very expressive face on camera that is every director's dream to have in front of his camera to play his characters. So she's going to be playing the lead female in the movie. Her name is Stella, the character, and Iacopo Ricciotti, who's playing Disciple Thomas in Martin Scorsese's The Saints series that's already out. He's going to be playing Leo in the short. So it's a very interesting combination of amazing locations, very poignant and deep, and powerful drama, and just interesting people on camera.
Well, thank you so much, Oliver, for being with us today. Best of luck. We're looking forward to seeing all your upcoming endeavors. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Yeah, pleasure is mine. And take care, you guys. And happy holidays. Merry Christmas. We'll talk soon.
Have you ever wondered what's behind the world's most famous scream? The scream was created by Norwegian artist Edvard Munch in 1893. He later wrote that he was out for a walk at sunset when the sky suddenly turned blood red, and he felt what he called an infinite scream passing through nature. Scholars have tried to explain that haunting moment. Some believe Munch was experiencing a panic attack. Others think the intense red sky came from the after effects of the Krakatoa volcanic eruption, which tinted sunsets around the world for months and stayed in people's memories for years. Whatever the cause, that single moment of fear and awe became an icon of modern art, the Mona Lisa of our time. Munch created 2 versions in paint, 2 in pastels, and several lithograph prints. And as if the story needed more drama, both painted versions were stolen from public museums, only to resurface later, adding yet another chapter to the legend of the Scream. That's it for today's episode. Until next time.